Oh, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Today is Sunday, December 21st. For once, I think I actually have the date right because I was at the restaurant and they had a giant bouquet of beautiful flowers, and I mentioned them and they said something about Valentine's, and that reminded me that last weekend was Valentine's, which is February 14th. I know that much, so that makes today the 21st. So for once, I know the actual day of the month, which is February 21st, 2021. It's 1:14 p.m. I've been praying lately, and what I feel that God is telling me is to be louder and more outspoken and more extreme. But I want to kind of wrap a context around that word extreme, because I don't mean like extreme for the sake of being extreme. I don't mean like being disingenuously extreme. What I mean by extreme is I mean more extremely transparent, or extremely frank, or just, saying more exactly what I think, as opposed to holding back and trying to cater to people's feelings, because, people's feelings are like, they're like it's like a breeze. Like one day they're offended. People are selectively offended, basically, is the way to say it. People can, they can say, everybody knows I'm very political. I love political speech, but if I'm engaging in political speech, I don't hide the fact that it's political speech. I advertise the fact that it is political speech. Unlike people at my church, First Baptist of Church St. Petersburg, they cloak their political speech in a bunch of Jesus talk and Bible this and Bible that, and they just like slide it in there. And then the question becomes, well, how much do they slide in there? And the answer is as much as they can, right? Like if I wasn't there and other people weren't there, because I talk to people around town, and the people that I talk to agree, is probably because we all run in circles, in similar circles. People who have some degree of consistency in the way we think, and pretty much we're all like that. I try not to be that way, but anyway, that's another story. But it is just very political down there. It's very and it's like political in an underhanded, sneaky kind of way, right? And I'll give you a little example today. So I was watching a Bible study online today with my friend David, and it was John Rice and a lady named Carol. I don't know her last name. And anyway, she apparently, for all I know, she's a very nice lady. From what I know of her, she's a very nice lady. And, nothing bad to say there. But if I did have something bad to say, I would say it, because like I said, I'm going to be more frank and just more transparent, more like, I've always kind of been a person that wore his heart on his sleeve. And I've had people tell me that, and it would make me like, well, what do you mean? Like, how? When people used to tell me that, it wasn't a lot of people, and but it's the kind of thing somebody tells you, it kind of sticks with you. You're kind of like, what is that? It's like, well, how am I supposed to be? You know what I mean? It's like, but the fact of the matter is, that a lot of people are very cloaked. It's not good or bad. It's just their personality, the way they were raised. Whatever, and I guess it serves them really well in business and in different types of situations, But for me, I've just always been kind of like, wore my heart on my sleeve, can't hide my emotions if I try, and if I do try, it's just like, it's just funny, because it's like, dude, you really stink at hiding your emotions, I'm like, well, I'm trying, I don't know what to say, So I think the Lord is telling me just to affirm the way He made me. Because when you are a person who doesn't hide his emotions on a sleeve, then you're also, one of the byproducts, one of the side effects of that is you're very aware of your emotions, right? Like if you're always suppressing your emotions, well, after a while, your emotions become a mystery even to you. Right? Because you work so hard and put so much energy into suppressing and hiding them from other people that you actually end up hiding them from yourself. So there's that aspect, but also, emotions are like, they're like a muscle, the more you exercise them, the stronger they get, right? So you have a person who wears their heart on their sleeve. I believe, I could be wrong, but it's just a theory. And I didn't read this or hear it from anybody else. It's just a personal theory, that they have stronger emotions. Now the idea of suppressing your emotions and hiding your emotions, that comes with it. That no doubt comes with certain benefits, but I strongly believe that it also comes with a whole bag of different problems, right? So it's not like one way is right, one way is wrong. It's just a personality type thing, and there's pros and cons to both, basically. So I am the way I am. That's the way I am. That's the way God made me. I have to assume. I make that statement on faith. This is the way God made me. So I feel like God is just telling me to affirm the way He made me. Oh wow, there's an airplane. It looks just like the kind of airplane you make when you fold up a piece of paper. Looks just like a paper, the design of it. Anyway, pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm listening to this thing today, and it's like he's talking about, he and Carol, we're talking about all the times that Jesus said harsh things, which is kind of an appropriate, I didn't really think about it in advance, but it's kind of an appropriate context for my own little monologue here, right? He's talking about all the times that Jesus said harsh things, and how Jesus continually confronted the religious leaders, right? And it's very typical, it's very stereotypical. Religious leaders talk about Jesus confronting religious leaders, but they never apply it to themselves. It's like they're trying to, like Jedi magic, ignore the fact that they're religious leaders. It's like they're trying to ignore the fact that everything Jesus said to the Pharisees, probably He would say to them, because you're the same category of person in society. You have the same status, you have the same title, you have the same job description, you're the same basic person. And you can say, yeah, but we're a different kind of religious leader because we're Christian and they were Jewish. Oh, it's like, well, that's kind of, how do you say, anti-Semitic, right? That's like a flavor of racism, isn't it? It's like, you're so much better because you're I don't think so. I'm not a big anti-Semitic accusing type person. I'm not a big racism accusing type person. If you're anti-Semitic, you're anti-Semitic. If you're racist, you're racist. But I don't think I just go around like randomly accusing people of being anti-Semitic or racist, like people like basically leftist Democrats, Marxists, communists do. It's just a pejorative that they pull out of their pocket like a rabbit's foot whenever they get in trouble, and they start throwing it around because they know it'll get them some, it'll gain them some ground in whatever it doesn't really matter what the topic of debate is. It's just it'll gain them some ground in the debate. It's just like a weapon basically, and it's irrational and it's illogical, but it doesn't matter because once you start accusing people of things, then everything becomes very emotional and whatever. It just creates confusion and disorientation. So I hope I'm not that way. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. But point being is that for anybody to say, I don't care if you're Baptist, if you're Christian, if you're Buddhist, if you're Taoist, if you're Baha'i, if you're Muslim, if you're whatever, to say, oh, well, Jesus was talking to the Jewish leader, He wasn't talking to us. That's like anti-Semitic. It's like, no, Jesus was talking to religious leaders, period. Okay, it doesn't matter what your flavor is. He was talking to religious leaders, right? And you can ask, well, are religious leaders that bad? I don't think so. I think religious leaders are held to a higher standard. And that's what Jesus was doing. He was holding them to a higher standard. In other words, if you take a group of 5 religious leaders and 5 random people off the street and hold them to the same standard, they would probably all fail equally badly, But you don't hold people off the street to the same standard that you hold leaders. So this is like the quandary for when people like John Rice do this thing. It's like, well, Jesus was talking. Oh, it's so funny. It's like, dude, Jesus was talking to you. He was talking to you. It's not. You shouldn't be laughing as if this passage has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with you. You're held to the same standard as these Pharisees. And you fail just like these Pharisees do. And if I were in your position, I would be held to the same standard, and I would fail the same way. That's the way this works. I mean, to me, there's not much that the Bible is excruciatingly clear on. There's not much. There's a few basic things. Most of it's open to debate. Most of it is, I think God likes to watch us exercise the judgment that he's given us to learn to make good decisions in cloudy circumstances. My belief, that's my philosophy, okay? That's most of it. But on this point, this is like one of 2 or 3 things that, again, in my opinion, the Bible is excruciatingly clear about. And that is that all have sinned. And for all, everybody, John Rice, the Pharisees, me, everybody, all. Nobody needs to be standing up and pointing a finger and laughing at other people. Oh, Jesus really got you, didn't he? He don't like you too much, does he? And you're the exact same person. You're guilty of the exact same things. You got the exact same problems, right? John Rice, this is amazing. John Rice is sitting there presenting himself as a steward of the Word of God. And he's got a little placard, a bumper sticker, I don't know what it is, some kind of little thing, clearly visible to the video. It's there every week. And it says, all my heroes killed cowboys. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, now, what is that? Is that like a football thing? I don't think it's a football thing. I don't see any blue star, like for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not a football person, but I'm pretty sure the Dallas Cowboy emblem involves a blue star, right? There's no blue star on this little thing. I don't think it has anything to do with football. I think it's a racist commentary on the fact that you hate cowboys because cowboys slaughtered the Indians, right? Because you have a racist outlook on life that says before the white man showed up in America, the Indians never had any wars. The Indians never took each other as slaves. The indigenous people, the Indians, never raped any of their neighbors' wives or raped, women in their own tribes. The Indians just sat around all day smoking peace pipes and categorizing butterflies and praying to Mother Earth. It's like a childish, silly view of the world, right? But it's also racist. Because it's like, well, if you're this kind of person, you're naturally, inherently good. In other words, if you have dark colored skin. But if you have this colored skin, you're naturally, inherently evil. Right? That's racism defined. And that's the way these racists are. These racists like John Rice and like Glenn Money, they get up there and 1 minute they're condemning racism. And so they're establishing themselves as some kind of a moral authority. And then literally the next minute, they're talking about how people with a certain color skin are either inherently better or inherently worse than the other party, the other, different. They're basically judging people on the color of their skin. Right after they build up, establish moral authority for themselves, decrying racism, right? And then it's basically like gaslighting. It is gaslighting because it's so profoundly perverse. It's so profoundly degenerate that in the extreme, this stuff only works in the extreme. It's so profoundly perverse and degenerate in the extreme. And then you got this person with a title that presumably makes him holy, or presumably makes him reputable, or presumably makes him believable and authoritative, right? And you got this two conflicting realities, and they're presented to you simultaneously. Your brain can't process it, so you just submit. It's just too much, because you don't want to accept the fact that this guy is a degenerate. You don't want to accept the fact that he is exactly what he just theatrically and loudly condemned, because that makes no sense. It's like, why would he just condemned? Because that's the way this works. It's a trick. It's a trick. It's mind control. It's a form of mind control. It's gaslighting. It's gaslighting. Okay. When an authoritative person presents something to you that you cannot process intellectually, you have a choice. Either you rise up and protest, or you just submit and you just collapse and you just become like putty in their hands. And once they do that to you 2 or 3 times, it just becomes the established norm, and it just becomes an automatic response on your part, or on the part of the congregation, or on the part of the entire society, or the family, or the group, or whatever. And they can basically like almost do whatever they want, right? At least that's the end goal, and it's like a progressive thing. It's like bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, they gain more and more and more control. Now, why don't people rise up and because they don't want to. They don't want to. It's hard, right? It's stressful, and people are insecure, and people don't want to stand up to an authority figure. But look what Jesus did. He gave us the model. Not only do you stand up to authority figures, you stand up to them loudly, like Jesus did. Jesus insulted them. I called Dr. Glenn Money a whore on more than one occasion, and I'm going to call John Rice a whore. These men are the people that God was talking about in the Old Testament when he said, you're prostituting yourself to these foreign gods. And John Rice and Dr. Glenn Money prostitute themselves for a paycheck, for popularity, for personal bias, because somebody behind the scenes, either through money or through charm or through sheer force of will, is influencing them to say what they want them to say. I don't know. I don't really think it matters. I'm just saying these are the possibilities that I can think of, right? Somebody is manipulating or pressuring them, and it might not be a individual. It might be like the force of an entire subculture. Because we have subcultures. First Baptist Church St. Petersburg is like an extreme case of Democrat, Marxist, liberal, leftist, communist people with respect to the church leadership. You go 2 miles down the street, you walk, and that's why every Democrat Party, Stephen Colbert narrative, Jimmy Kimmel narrative, Anderson Cooper narrative, all this leftist stuff. It's like that half of our culture. We're like a divided culture, half, which is fine, because that brings, ironically, that brings us together. It keeps us engaged, right? Tyrants and dictators like quiet. They like nobody speaking up. You talk when I tell you to talk, otherwise you keep your mouth shut. That's what tyrants like, and to a tyrant they call that peace, but that's not peace, obviously, right? That's oppression, right? So peace and oppression look exactly the same. You have to use discernment to decide. Well, is it peace or is it oppression? And basically, if the people don't have any freedom, it's not peace; it's oppression, right? So First Baptist Church St. Petersburg is this oppressive, Democrat, pop culture mimicking minor bird repeater system. But you go 2 miles down the road, and there's churches where you walk in the front door and they got big giant signs that say masks not required, with the word not in all caps and underlined, So 3 miles away, right, from each other. But at First Baptist Church St. Petersburg, you walk in without a mask, they act like it's an epidemiological emergency. Like, if you don't wear a mask, everybody in the church is going to die. That's what they act like, And it's absurd because, like I said, on about 15 different levels, it's absurd. But on the level I'm talking about right now, it's because you got a church 3 miles away that's doing the exact opposite. You have counties that are doing the exact opposite of this county. You have states that are doing the exact opposite of this state and other states like Pennsylvania, New York, and California. You have entire country. The whole thing is just absurd, right? If you want to wear a mask, right? Who cares? I don't care. You want to wear a unicorn horn on your head? Wear a unicorn horn. I don't care. But you come over and start harassing me. We're a whole different. Now we got an issue, right? Now we got an issue. But let me get back to my original topic, which is this thing John Rice has on the video. It says, all my heroes killed cowboys. Now, so what is that talking about? I think it's talking about just the very extremely common, worn out, platitude, cliche notion that a lot of people believe, and God bless them. For all I know, they're right. I don't know. I don't believe it. Half of the country doesn't believe it. Half believes it, half doesn't. But whatever. We're all aware of each other's points of view. It's not like we have anything new to say to each other about the subject. But the subject is that, again, until the white man arrived, the Indians were just living in peace and singing Kumbaya every night around the campfire, and there were no wars. They never enslaved each other. There was no such thing as rape or thievery. It was just total peace. It was like nirvana. It was like heaven, and then the white man showed up and everything fell apart. Now, my heroes are people who killed the white man, who killed the cowboys. I mean, I would just say to John Rice, do you know how degenerate that is? Do you know how backward that is? Do you know how depraved that is? Do you even know what the Bible says? Do you? I know you know, but the question is, do you care? I don't think you do. Well, let me put it this way. I think you do care. Until the Bible conflicts with your own personal political, or the way I like to say it, your own personal petty political point of view. When the Bible conflicts with your own personal petty political point of view, then you throw away what the Bible says. Okay? But as long as they agree, okay, then you support the Bible, because it just so happens to coincide with your own personal petty political point of view. So you're not really, at the end of the day, from a purely logical point of view, you're not advocating the Bible. You're advocating your own personal petty political point of view, and you use the Bible to support that personal petty political point of view whenever possible, and that's the final analysis. I mean, whichever one takes priority, right, then that's the one that you're exploiting to support the other. And your own personal, no rational, reasonable, sane, decent person would have that kind of a statement. I don't care what your political point of view, I don't care what your view of the indigenous people, on video as a member of the clergy, because the Bible is explicitly clear. All of us have sinned, even the indigenous people, John. Can you believe that? Even the indigenous people sin. And Christ died for all. You know what? Jesus died for the cowboys that you celebrate for when they get killed. Jesus died for those people, right? But you're celebrating their deaths. As a matter of fact, you're celebrating their violent, bloody, painful, extended deaths, right? Because that's how a death is when you get killed in some kind of a battle. It's painful and it's extended, and unless you're lucky and you get killed like instantly like that. But back in those days, when you're talking about arrows and knives and not that powerful guns and stuff like that, you usually got stabbed or shot with an arrow or shot with a bullet, and you fell down and you tried to get up, but you couldn't, and then you died 3 days later of an infection. That's kind of the way that used to work. It's not like today where they just melt you with a energy weapon or something like that. Today it's totally different. But back in those days, people died of infection more than anything else because they had an injury and they didn't have a way to clean out the injury, so they died of infection. They put their knife in the fire until it glowed red and then stick their knife in the wound. That was their idea of disinfection, So, like I said, this is profane, right? For a pastor to be celebrating the death of a certain category of people on the basis of a racist determination. Like, you're a cowboy. If you die, I'm going to celebrate. Yay! And I'm going to put it up on my church video, and I'm going to sit there and act like a holy man when I'm really a depraved degenerate, right? A depraved racist degenerate. But the way these leftist, Democrat, communist, Marxist, liberal, racist think is that it's okay for them to be a racist because they're a different kind of racist, right? It's okay to be racist against this color of people, but if you're racist against these other color of people, then they're gonna scalp you, right? They're gonna jump on top of you with their hunting knives, and they're gonna scalp you, figuratively speaking, metaphorically speaking, they're going to try to discredit you and, ostracize you and have you humiliated and terminated from your job and excommunicated from the community, right? Because you're the wrong kind of racist. You got to be their kind of racist to earn their approval. So anyway, I got a new, I'm up to my time limit. I got to go. This thing's going to turn off. God bless you. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.